Hey folks, your OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of the TSUM Bay Light Up Luminous Portable Bluetooth Speaker. This is a mini speaker, so it's not meant to compete with larger units that have stereo drivers as well as a more booming bass that you would want for home cinema as well as for parties, but it's good enough for on-the-go use, maybe in the car, or to blast out a few songs to friends and family. Certainly better than any built-in speakers on a smartphone, but again doesn't fill up as much space. And it's not stereo. The biggest selling point of this unit is going to be that luminous or light up ring that makes it seem almost like it's floating. It seems very futuristic and sci-fi-esque. There are a few different colors that you can program it with so that it flashes along with the music, and it sells on Amazon for under 20 bucks, which makes it fairly affordable as well. So definitely a very interesting design is the reason why I decided to take a closer look here. Other features do include a optional kind of auxiliary input if you don't want to use wireless Bluetooth. There is also a passive radiator, so there should be more bass than expected on such a small device. And there's even a radio function, so you can listen to radio without an antenna, which is also pretty interesting. Definitely works best in the dark or in a dimmed environment, and some other specifications are located on the back. So inside the packaging, we have the speaker itself. We'll take a closer look at this in a second. And then we have an accessory pouch, which includes a micro USB cable for charging, an auxiliary 3.5mm cable for connecting to a traditional maybe MP3 player, and a user manual that is documented in English. So taking a look at the design of the speaker first, it definitely doesn't have the most premium build, and that's because it wants to go for this kind of transparent acrylic for the effect of the LEDs to become magnified. There are no aluminum or metal parts, but everything does feel relatively well built. It's made of a thick rubber plastic as well as on acrylic accents on the outer ring. So that's basically the construction. We have the speaker grill right on top. That's where the sound comes out from. There is the ring, and then on the bottom we have the controls for the power, play, pause, skip tracks, as well as for answering and rejecting phone calls. There is a built-in microphone, which you can use to make speakerphone calls with, or conference calls, which is a nice feature. Here's the mic. On the side here, there are the controls for the different lights that you can program, a dedicated power switch, the micro USB, which is also used for the auxiliary input, and there is also the micro SD card. If you want to have some music loaded onto a memory card, it can play it back like an MP3 player. The bottom here just features a rubber ring that prevents it from sliding around on a surface or a desk. And overall, again, this is a very portable device that fits easily into a backpack. So if we put it next to something like a mouse, you can see that it's even smaller than that. It's about the same size as a small water bottle or a shortened can of soda. Alright, so let's power it on and take a quick look at some of its various modes. Small LED to show you the status, and then we have this flashing animation. Afterwards, it's going to kind of pulse gently to tell us that it's ready to pair. Before that, we just tap on some of the lighting modes. We can actually cycle through them. So by default, we have this white light, which works well maybe as kind of a mood lighting piece or even as a reading light. That works pretty well. It's not really bright, but you can see that it's good enough for maybe adding some background lighting to a room. And then tapping on it again changes it to the blue light, which looks, again, pretty interesting. And this is the mode where it slowly cycles between all of the other colors as well. So like definitely the look is the most interesting thing here. And you can see that the light is very gentle, and the color changing is kind of different at various angles, which is also interesting. All right, so let's tap on the key again. And from here, we go into a more flashing mode, which is a bit more direct. And then here we have a faster pulse, which is more of a strobe lighting. So if you have a really fast music, then this might be something you would want to enter into. And then tapping on it again turns the lighting off if you don't want any light when listening to music. Now for a quick kind of audio sample, we're going to play back this track. Right now we are at 50% volume. Alright, so pausing the music there, I guess the takeaway from that audio sample is that it actually sounds a lot better than I expected. The most important thing is that it actually sounds quite clean, and there is more bass than you would expect just by looking at this thing. There's actually a real passive radiator, I can tell, because while holding the speaker, the entire thing kind of thumps and rumbles when it hits lower notes and kind of bass drops. So it actually packs quite a punch despite the small size. With that being said, the volume doesn't get quite as loud as other smaller speakers I've tested in the past. You can maybe detect that because right there we were already at 75% volume, and I tried clicking on the volume up key a few times, but it doesn't seem to get much louder than that. So it fills up small rooms without any problems, much louder than any cell phone, but at the same time it can't compete with a full-size speaker as far as volume is concerned. But in the volume that it does do, the bass is very much present, the mids and highs are clean, they're neutral sounding, they're clear sounding, and even pausing the music doesn't have that much static or distortion. So it actually sounds pretty good as far as playing back music, playing back movies, and for casual music listening. I wouldn't call it a hi-fi grade speaker since, again, the main selling point of this is going to be that flashing light and that unique design that's going on for the LEDs, but the sound quality is not shabby at all. When I did a bit of testing with the microphone quality earlier, I was also fairly impressed. It works best indoors since it's not noise canceling, but for doing a few quick calls with friends and family members, it does a great job, both picking up your voice and projecting the sound from the speaker, of course. So the placement of the speaker on the top is also quite smart since it fills up 360 degrees and doesn't get muffled up by any particular kind of a degree or accidentally holding it with your hand on one side, since it's placed right there, so it has more room to spread out. So overall, this is a very cleverly designed Bluetooth speaker. I would say it's definitely has a very novel design going on. It's probably not the most practical speaker in the world, and at the same time, if sound quality is your #1 priority, then arguably there are a few better options on the market. But for what it is, it actually does a pretty good job at being a nice conversation starter, in addition to having actually pretty good sound quality for being such a small portable size. So you can check out more details about this in our official written review, but for now this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. This has been the TS-UM Bay Mini Portable LED Bluetooth Speaker.